You're up than me.
Hello. Let's go. Mm, mm, mm,
Hello,
Clap your hands.
everybody who's coming in the room.
Clap your hands. Mm. Candid conversations with me and my sister. Candid conversations, won't you join in with us? Candid conversations with me and my sister. Candid conversations, won't you
Won't you
join
join
with
with
us?
us?
Hey, we are
Hey,
here live.
we're back. We are
Yeah,
back.
let's do the disclaimer. This disclaimer is we are representing ourselves. We're only representing Robinette Reed, and you are representing.
Amina.
We're not representing any church, any job, any entity. These are our own thoughts. And let's join in the conversation. Welcome, everyone. As you enter in, tell us who you are and where you're watching us from. I see you already entering into the room. Thanks so much. We have some stuff that we want to dig into, Amy. Go ahead. We got to dig into some stuff.
Yes, we're going to dig into some stuff. I was just thinking, I was on Clubhouse. And for those of you who do not know,
Hey!
what
I'm saying,
happened?
hey,
Hey, to who?
Gerald,
That was loud in my ear.
Gerald,
So you just threw me off track with all that loud noise. What was I saying?
you were saying you wanted to dig
Oh,
into
I was
something.
okay. No, what I said was I was on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And for those of you guys that don't know about Clubhouse, get hip to the game. Know somebody who knows somebody so you can get on Clubhouse. Clubhouse is invite only. Whew. It's a game changer. I'm gonna let you know right now. There's so many free gems being dropped in there as it relates to business, networking, marketing. There's so much stuff,
So
so
you
much.
like it then?
I absolutely love it. So I am overdoing it. They need to pay me. They need to pay me for endorsing them. But it's a great app. So I was on Clubhouse and they had some bishops in the room and some first ladies and evangelists and all that kind of stuff. And they were talking about dating in the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me think that I want to talk about this conversation because it's time to lift up the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever somebody then swept up under the rug is about to get lifted up, and
Uh-huh.
we about to get the broom and we gonna just start sweeping up all that trash.
Okay, let's open up, lift up the rug, and expose every hidden thing.
So
Ah,
I wanted to get your thoughts and your opinions,
mm-hmm.
and this is conversational, you guys. So I want to hear. Actually, I won't be able to hear. It's not like um, Instagram Live where you can actually talk to somebody and they join up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So we would need to read your comments. Is there a way that we could do that? Like
What?
bring someone in like by video to hear what
We
they
would
have
have
to
to
say.
send them the link and then they could join in.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess we have to plan for that. But so yeah, so back to what I was saying.
Okay.
He's
Let's lift up the rug. Open it up.
let's lift up the rug. So I wanted to hear your opinion and everybody's opinion
Mhm.
when it comes to dating in the ministry, because we know
Okay.
that pastors are going to date, especially mainly if they single. I was about to say especially if they single, but that ain't always the case either. They could be married and be dating somebody. Okay, y'all know what I'm talking about.
We've seen it in the news.
In the news,
Hmm.
in the news.
We've seen it.
So well, hold
We've
on, hold on,
heard
hold
it.
on,
We've
hold on.
heard it. Okay, let's see. We heard about it.
I want to make sure that you are saying you hear it in the news. You don't know anyone who
The news.
personally,
The
you don't
news
know.
anywhere. The news, gossip,
Oh,
anywhere.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We on the same page now. We're on the same page. Okay. So what's your
Okay, Amy.
viewpoint on dating in the ministry, specifically a authority figure, whether it's a pastor, deacon, somebody who has a lot of influence, praise and worship leader, whatever.
So I want to open up that rug and lift it up a little bit more and not just say the ministry, but let's say Christianity or not just the ministry.
No, I want to talk about the ministry specifically. We can add on the
What is the
Christianity
ministry?
later.
Okay, what is the ministry?
Okay, so that I just gave you examples of the ministry. You have pastors,
Hmm.
you have evangelists, you have first ladies that are dating, they're
Okay.
single or whatever. What is your opinion on that?
Somebody said, "Don't look, Amy. Don't expose too much."
Oh no, we look, hey, let's go.
So, my opinion, Amy, is that um, for sure, people who are single will date. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's no sin involved in it because dating is a period where you get to know someone. So if I'm single and I'm looking to mingle, then I'm going to have to begin to spend time with others in order so that I can understand if this is somebody that I want to take it a little further, or is this someone that I want to spend more time with. There has to be a season in the relationship where we get to know one another. And I think that season is the dating period. So I have no problem if the pastor is single with him dating somebody because he's got to find his wife. Or if it's a preacher, whether it be a deacon, whether it be a praise and worship leader, whether it be someone of influence, they're in this human flesh. They're human just like you and I. And you and I had to date in order for us to get married. You have to spend time with the other person. So that is nothing wrong with it. To me, fine. Date so that you can find your spouse or your significant other. Because otherwise, how are you going to find them?
Well, and I
How
agree
are you
with
going to
I
build
got
the
it.
relationship?
I got it. I mean, I got it and I agree with what you're saying because you do have to have a time that you're spending with someone to see if
Hmm.
I want to carry all your weight.
Hmm.
Let the truth be told. Because people, you get in a relationship, whatever they're doing is going to affect you. Do I have the capacity to even deal with everything that you going through?
Right, right. That's the
It,
whole point. So then during that season, if you don't like what you're seeing, then that's your time to exit to the left. To the left, to the left, Beyonce said. To the left, to the left. That's your opportunity to say, you know what, I don't think I can deal with this person, or I don't like the way they chew their food, or I don't like how they twiddle their toes while they watching TV. I mean, come on. You have to learn this person and see what you can live with and what you can't live with.
so, do you think that you could date somebody and sex not be involved?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And for how long?
Well, it depends on that person's uh
Because we
it
know
depends
sex
on
is
that
involved. We
person's
know, we
decision
know,
making
we know sex is involved sometimes.
sometimes, but not all the time.
Well, how do you know it's not all the time?
Because I was dating myself and there was no sex involved. Ask my husband. He had
Well,
to
you,
wait.
well, you're an exclusion. We talking about people like me.
Well, see,
Look,
there's so
we talking
many.
about we.
Listen, there's so many various people. That's why I said it's your own barometer, and it's your own thermometer that you are using to I don't know, to test or to see what your standards are. So people like you or people like me, we still had to, whether there was sex involved or not, you still needed that time.
Absolutely.
You need that time together.
Absolutely. You do. You do. You do. You need that time. And I don't want nobody to get me wrong. I wasn't out there doing no crazy stuff with a whole bunch of people. The list is about this big. It ain't no
Uh,
long list and he's still upstairs. After
I hear
20,
you.
20, 20 plus years, he's still up there.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to hear what your take was on it because dating is complex. It's not as simple as, oh, let me just see what you're about and let me see what you're about. I mean, yo, loins get to
See,
your loins get to acting up, and you
uh,
got to say, "Down, Satan." Remember in Living Color, "Down, Satan."
that was David Allen Greer.
Yeah.
But now, that's why it's very important that you lay the foundation when you first starting to date somebody. See, if they know who you are and they know the standards that you have already, then you X that out real quick in the beginning. See, when I was dating my husband, and I'm not gonna tell too much of my business, but I'll give you a little peek into
Just
the
give a
window,
little, just get a
just
little
a little
peep.
peep,
We
you know,
don't know no business, so give us just a little
just a little
something.
peep. I'll give you a little peep. But when my husband and I was first dating, I told him I am a minister, I'm a preacher. And he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And I said, "No, no, no. I'm a minister for real. Like not a for play one, like a for real one." And he was like, "Oh, okay. So I can't do this, I can't do that, can't do this." So if you bring that out up front in the beginning, then there's no expectation, even though it may peep his head up a few other times. You've set that foundation already. So he knows where you're coming from, you know where he's coming from, and then you can move forward. You see what I'm saying? But you set the standards
So is it really
up front.
is it really I can't do this and I can't do that, or is it I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that? Because you could say all day I can't do ABC. Next thing we got church people on here, so I'll keep it clean.
Either whether you say you can or you won't, it's still you not. These are your standards that you're setting in the up in the beginning for the relationship. If it turns into a relationship,
But in
do you
your
see what I'm
case,
saying?
it's you don't.
I did not. I said I
Yeah,
was.
you
I
did
said I
not.
did.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then, say for instance, I went out with another one, and this is before I met my husband. I went out with another one. He busy talking about how thick my thighs were.
What's wrong with that?
Amy, I
Come on,
no,
come
no,
on
no. You
now.
can say you. That's all you want to talk about is the thickness of my thighs.
Okay,
Then,
hold on.
then Amy,
Let's.
that's where
You want
me
to
and
tell the
you are
whole story?
different. Me and you are different.
We are different because I think that I don't care if you're a pastor, a deacon, praise and worship leader. I don't care what you do in the ministry. You have to be normal. There's a human side of you that you should be able to say, "I like your thighs" or whatever. I don't want you around me quoting scriptures all day.
Well, Amy, you have to have balance.
You have to have balance. So what
Have
I'm
balance.
saying is now it depends. So if you've told this person up front, this is what I'm not going to do, this is what I'm not going to do, and they continue to, like, every time you see them, they're like, "Ooh, I like your thighs." Is that what you're saying? How it was like
No,
going?
no. From that, because he was etching his way thinking he was going to get something from me, but he wasn't getting nothing from me. And so that's when I decided for when I met my husband, I would set it up in the beginning so you wouldn't have an expectation.
So even though you didn't set that expectation up with
No,
that particular person, so they kept on. So that's one of the ones that I'm talking about that slip down, fall, and get back up then, because everybody is not sitting around with their legs crossed in the church.
well, their legs should be crossed.
I mean, Robin, I'm talking about realistically. There's a lot of people out there that can't
Cross those
control.
legs, and then it'll save you a lot of heartache. It'll save you a lot of stress and a lot of trouble if you cross them legs and keep them
But
crossed. By the grace of
But you know what?
God.
It does save you a lot of trouble and stuff, because you can get you some soul ties. You don't want no
To the
soul
wrong people.
ties, and
Oh
you can't
Lord.
get leave that person alone, and you
Uh
trying to
huh.
get away and you can't even get away because you
Amy,
trapped.
let's look at this comment
Okay,
made by Aja Simone.
okay,
Let's dig into this.
let's
He
dig.
said, "Oh, skip all that and get to the good part, where the pastor be dating more than one person at the same time in the congregation."
Okay,
Oh
so
Lord.
I've heard of those things. I never like hung with people like that in the church to be in the know. I mean, I've heard it, but I've never seen that with my own two eyes. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
I'm sure that it goes on. I'm sure that it goes on because the pastor is charismatic. I don't care if he don't look good.
Mhm.
If he can speak and
Uh-huh.
he's powerful and he's of authority,
Mhm.
that's attractive
Okay, to a lot. Yes, to a lot of
to
women
a
for
lot
sure.
of people and to a lot of women and to a lot of men. That's attractive to be in a position of power like that.
Mhm.
So I can see everybody
Mhm.
slithering,
Amy, why they
trying to
gotta be slithering?
they slithering around trying to get at the man of God or get at the pastor or get, you know what I mean? They trying to
Uh-huh.
get at him.
Uh-huh.
So and he slips and fall, boom, you know. He may slip and then get back up
Uh-huh.
because he's human too. I'm not trying to say that it's okay. I'm not saying that it's okay. But
Uh-huh.
we all fall. We all fall and we all get back up. And
Mhm.
that person has is under the same authority and rules and regulations or whatever as we are.
Okay, here's another one, Amy. Asking about the thighs on the first date is probably not appropriate until you get to know them on a certain level of comfort. True.
Were they
So true.
asking you that on the first date?
Well, I think I only went out with that person maybe one or two times max. So that means it was in the beginning.
Okay, so if you're doing that, okay, let me take a step back. If someone's
Mhm.
doing that right, there's going to be some flirtatious comments before you even give the number anyways. You have to have some level of attraction
Attraction.
to somebody, and they said something to you a little bit sly and but a little bit, you know, flirtatious.
But that's not flirtatious, Amy. When you already going through the thickness of somebody's thighs, you didn't gone too far.
Well, somebody might say that they like your shape or they like your butt or they like your whatever. It's the same thing to me, I think. Or if they make some kind of comment about
Now,
look
if
at how I
there's a
shake or something.
difference between you saying, "Oh, you are beautiful," or "You are you are I love your eyes. You are so beautiful. I like the way you talk," versus, "Oh, your thighs are thick." Ugh.
Okay. You
Oh,
you 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 got me on that one. You got me. You got me. You right.
I like mine. No, no,
You
no,
got me on that one. You
no, no.
yeah, you're right. If
Thug,
someone
thuggish, thug dizzle. And the other one is, okay, you're beautiful. That's classy.
yes, and it's all right to have a little bit of thug in you too, even if you a pastor or whatever. That's all right. You can throw the little thug in there
That's
every
why
once in a while.
Peter had a little of that gangster. He cut that ear off.
But you're right. You're right. There is something different when someone's coming to you in a certain disposition that's
Yeah.
luring, like, oh, you're beautiful or whatever, uh, whatever.
Hmm.
Versus, yeah, you know, look at your thighs. But yeah, he was focusing on your thighs. He was looking too, I don't know. He was looking in a whole bunch of different places.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't even continue with that foolishness. But that's because that's me. Somebody else would have enjoyed those comments. Not I.
You're
Not
right.
I.
You are absolutely right. There's a lot of people that would, there's a lot of men or and women that would enjoy those comments and just keep on going because that's what they like. That's what they like. If that's what
Yeah.
they like, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So, do you think that there's a do you think in relationships, I'm specifically talking about ministry, evangelists, pastors, preachers, all of them in authority. Do you think that
Hmm.
there's ever a situation where it's a battle between the time a wife wants with the spouse, the husband who's the pastor? Do you think
Hmm.
there's ever a battle like they want
Oh
I
yeah.
want my time and all this?
Oh, Amy. That is why I said there must be balance. Okay? Because I've never been no pastor's wife or anything like that. But I have been in ministry where ministry will take a lot of your time. Just being just a minister. And so then you have to look at it and say, okay, you have to balance this out. You have to spend time with the husband. You got to spend time with the children. You got to work. You got to do all of these things. But that's amplified now if you're a pastor. I have never been a pastor, but I can imagine that their time of being split and pulled in various different directions definitely puts a strain on the marriage, especially if the wife is not 100% on board. Now, if the wife is 100% doing ministry with you and she's right by your side and you guys, this is what God called you guys to do together, I think even though you both may have been called to do it, there still may be a strain on the amount of time that the pastor is putting in with the church work. You see what I'm saying? So that pastor has to learn how to balance the time that they spend at the church versus time that they spend at the with their spouses and their families. And I think the ones that realize and recognize that they have to spend time with their wife, or that wife will doesn't mean she's going to be there forever. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the divorce rate in the church and the pastors is just as high as in the world, because that spouse wasn't getting what they needed, and so they just became unhappy. So that's why I feel like in ministry, God first, God first, God first, family. God first, then family. God first, then family.
So,
Because as soon as that wife, that spouse leave you behind, then guess what? They're going to look at you like, ooh, he can't even keep his house together. He can't keep, but he was in turn spending all his time at the church. And they did now turned it around on him. You see what I'm saying? He can't keep his house well. You see what I'm saying? So,
well, I think this is my opinion. When it comes to preachers, I think preachers, pastors, or whatever, he's for God. So God is first in their mind. God is first. So if they don't focus on God and do what it is that they've been called to do, they feel like they might get in trouble with God. They don't want to get in trouble with God. God is first. Do you think that in relationships, like specifically in pastors' relationships, do you think people are being honest up front, letting the wife know, or wife to be know, that God is first? I mean, I know that, I wonder if people even really look at it like that. They're putting God first, and then it end up being the family, because they're
well,
spending so much time at work.
some
I
people,
mean, well, they're working at
yeah,
church.
some people will think I'm saying what I'm saying is controversial, because they want to say God first and then the church work and then the family. I don't subscribe to it. They want to look at God first, then church work, Amy, doing church duties. Being out at the church for this program, being out the church for that program, holding this conference, and COVID has exposed a whole bunch of stuff, because now we realize that, guess what? Church is not relegated to a building, Amy. We learned that you do not have to be at that church 24/7 to serve God. We realize that you can serve God in so many various capacities. You serving God when you feed that hungry person on the side of the street. You serving God when they organized. I'm feeling excited right now. When they organize feeding those homeless people, Amy, that's the real ministry. Do you see what I'm saying? When you go outside of the four walls, when we're so content with preaching to ourselves, when we're so excited about preaching and here and ooh, yeah, when we're so excited about singing and doing our thing in the church, but the real ministry started when we fed those people that have been hungry through COVID, when they lost their job and they didn't have any food. They didn't have any food to feed their family. And so now when the church organized themselves and feed that whole community, the real ministry has just begun, Amy, because we went out and we showed Christ to the world, not just preaching amongst ourselves. I wonder if I can get an amen on that out there.
So going back to the question, because I was talking about the wife vying for time, basically,
Mhm.
with the spouse. To me, I see it happening like the wife begins fighting for the position of God because she wants that time. She don't even realize it, but you
Mhm.
are fighting for position because you want that time with your spouse.
Yeah. She realizes it because she knows that she's feeling like she's second place, probably. She probably feels like she's second place. But that's why there has to be the relationship and the communication up front. So then she'll know exactly what she's walking into and what she's signing up for, Amy. Because most 9 times out of 10 people know the duties of the pastor. 9 times out of 10 they know that that's a taxing uh, uh, calling or occupation. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why
Mm-hmm.
the uh, depression rates among pastors, if you research that, is very high because it's a very lonely job, and that's why you need to be certain that you're called um, to pastor any kind of group of people, so that you will learn how to balance
So then,
and
if the
be
wife
paid.
if the wife isn't wife or husband, it can go either way. If they don't understand that, what you're saying, they don't understand that. It's like, do he keep his discipline or does he make a concession for his wife? I believe in concessions. I don't think there's nothing wrong with concessions. Hey, I'll
Mhm.
run over here and do this with you today, but in 2 hours, I got to get back to doing ABC. You know what I mean? I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, that's what I keep saying, Amy. That's why I keep saying you got to have balance. You got to have balance. You got to learn how to bring them roses in and have dinner, sit down and enjoy the meal, and then say, by so and so, we got to do this, and you got to just balance it all out so that she feels, or she or he feels included and incorporated, and not like excluded or to the side or number two.
What do you think about? I'm shifting gears now.
Okay, shift gears
I
now. We go
just thought
to the next level.
I just thought about something. What do you think about? I was listening to some conversation, and the lady made a comment, and she was like, I'm a secure person, and I'm self-sufficient in my relationship. I got a lot of self-love, but sometimes I be wondering, like, she's talking about her boyfriend or whoever she's with. I be
Hmm.
wondering, why is he liking her post? And to me, that
Hmm.
that was like a question mark, because to me, what difference does it make if you are married or in a relationship with somebody and they like somebody's post of the opposite sex? Like,
Hmm.
what difference does that make?
They don't make me a bit of
That
difference.
has to go back. That goes back to insecurities. You
Hmm.
should be able to like somebody's post and have a conversation with them. I don't care if you a male or a female. You should be able
Yeah,
to look at somebody's picture and be like, oh yeah, she looked nice or he looks nice, and then you just keep on moving. Like, what
right.
do you think about people getting all upset and insecure because they like somebody's picture?
Yeah. Well, you got to listen to what people say. If somebody, the first thing that come out of their mouth is, "I'm not a insecure person," that you're insecure, because you don't have to make that grand statement, Amy. I'm not an insecure person. You must have some insecurity somewhere in there, because you don't need to grandstand that. But whether you like in a woman's post, you like a woman's picture, I do not care. That's just me. I don't care one bit. I may like somebody. I like so many different thousands of posts, so many different men, so many different women. It don't make me a bit of difference. I don't have no qualms about that. But one time when I was I believe I was newly married. I was at St. Joe's. I was working at the hospital, and this woman, she was a not a co-worker in the hospital, and she came up to me and she was just like, "I just love your husband, he is so nice." Oh, da, da, da. She was just going on, and a jealousy spirit raised up in me. It started coming up like this, and I was thinking about, why is she, like, as she was talking, this spirit was just
Mm.
coming out of me like, why is she telling me all this about my husband? And I just love him so. He is so nice. And then all that came up and I pushed it all down. As she was talking, I said, "Oh, you are so right."
Ooh, acting. You was acting. You was acting.
I said all this emotions was going on the inside. All she got out of me, well, you are so right. He is such a nice man. So, I mean, our reaction to various things our spouses pose, just forget about it and live your life. Forget about it and live your life. If your husband, if Greg has a problem with you, then you have to talk to him about that. Maybe you have to make some adjustments. Just like you said, you may have to make some concessions and stop hitting that like button just to keep peace in your home. You see,
Well, see, I mean, I agree that you do have to make some concession just to
if
keep
he don't
peace.
like it, you have
But
to
on
make
the
some
other
changes.
hand, that person needs some work. They need to do some work to get rid of that insecurity because that ain't on me. Like I'm not doing nothing wrong. But but one thing that I'm glad about is I don't have that issue because Greg don't care about my posts. He don't care about what I posted. He don't even be looking at my posts. I'm like, did you listen to my podcast? He was like, I ain't even listened to your podcast. I'm like, you didn't even listen to my podcast. You didn't see my last post. And he was like, I didn't see the last post. So then I'll show him the post and he'll be like, oh, okay.
Oh Lord, see, I already know he ain't gonna be thumbing through nobody's
He
Facebook.
don't be thumbing through nobody's Facebook, man. But one thing that he did say was he said that he doesn't look at my post on purpose because he doesn't want to distract from what I'm doing, what I'm creating.
Oh, okay,
So I said, oh, I had to take a pause.
that's good. That's
I
very
said,
good.
okay. He said, I don't want to take you off course. I don't want to give you no opinions. I don't want to give you my insight. I want you to do whatever it is you doing.
Good. That's good. Let him be free to be you, and he'll just support you. I
Yes.
like that. Something Faith said she was laughing, Amy. She laughing out loud. Ah, but no, you can't get a rise out of me that easily, Amy. Because as you saying, I'm already formulating how I'm gonna reply, and then I'll say, yes.
And you know what? Somebody needs to take a page from your book. Think about what it is that you're going to do and say before you do it. Just don't act on impulse. I don't hear you, Robin. Something went off. Um, no, I can't hear you. Huh? Nope, I can't hear you. But anyways, while she's getting all that together, so
Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you
Okay.
now. So make sure that you form a complete thought before you attack any situation. Think it out.
Yes.
That way you'll have it all organized when it actually comes out. Now, I do know that sometimes you can plan a conversation, and by the time you get in the conversation with the person,
Mm-hmm.
the conversation goes totally different based on the responses, and you don't get out everything you want to say. I get that too. But
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, if you need to write it down so that it'll flow when you say it. Just don't be operating off impulse, getting all mad. Because I have to learn that the hard way, making comments that you shouldn't be making out loud.
Girl, we got so many comments on Facebook that I can't even see on this end.
I can't even see. So you need to go ahead and look at them comments so we can go over those questions and comments that they making.
Now
Because
I didn't missed half of them.
I'm on my phone, so I can't see it on my phone. I'm waiting
They
on getting my laptop back, and they playing games with me on my laptop.
so
But
they saying that people, Shaheen is on here. She said people don't listen. They saying yes. It's just scrolling. Christina saying yes, it does. Think before you speak. People are saying yes, laughing out loud. They saying people are insecure. Christina says, I'm one that has to do that, a work in progress. They just commenting and saying what they going along with what we're saying.
so, Christine, what is it that you're working at doing? You're working at being less
Probably the
insecure.
reaction. Probably the reaction. Not
I
the.
was wondering if it was the insecurity or reacting on impulse to based on what someone's doing.
It's the reacting because they're all talking about the reacting.
Oh,
Think before you
reacting.
speak,
Oh
and
yeah, that is something that's a skill you have to learn. You have to shut that ego down.
wow.
When it comes up and it wants to start speaking, you got to just shut that down.
Hmm. Um, I was gonna say something about reactions. But it escaped me because I got to reading people's. Oh, she's talking about reacting. She just
Okay.
confirmed that she was talking about reacting. Um, man, it slipped my mind. But keep on talking and I'll
No,
remember.
look back at the is did anybody have any comments or questions, I should say. It should
I
be coming up
it's
on this screen right here. I don't know
it's
why
going.
it's not.
It's just going live, and she's saying I have to take a step back when it's time to react. That's what she's talking about. I don't see any questions, but
Okay, yeah.
it's scrolling. You know, I got to go back when it's over and then go back and look at all of them.
Well, I can't wait till I get my laptop so I can get back on my
Hmm.
laptop and figure it out.
And soon I'll be able to. I'll go in there and fix those settings so that we can see those comments over here, so we can all be on the same
Okay,
wavelength.
so we just got to do that beforehand, like kind of
Exactly.
play with it and figure out.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, it's so true to make sure that you think before you react. It is so crucial. Like the 20-year-old
Oh,
Robin may not have spent much time thinking
something
before
happened to the
reaction.
volume.
Would you?
Something happened to it, and it's making like this little like some kind of robotic sound or something. Unless that's just on my end.
Everybody do. How do I sound?
Every time you speak, it's like frequency of like a robot or something like that.
Can you hear me?
It's still doing that. I wonder if it's my earphones. Go ahead and speak.
Can you hear me good?
It's still doing the same thing.
So I should just keep them on. So she said, let me put this
Technical
back on.
difficulties.
Sorry, people just commenting. Let me.
You
Can
got
you
to
hear
buy
me?
some. You got to buy some more headphones. It's spicy over there.
Can you hear me?
It's spicy.
What does spicy mean?
Spicy mean it's all over the place. It's hot. It's tore up. It's acting up.
Can you hear me?
It's still doing the same thing. The only thing I can do is I'm gonna log out and then I'll log back in. You stay on.
Okay. So Stevie Denise says, I asked the Lord, how am I how should I feel about this and what and I learned from this. Okay, you ask God, how should you feel about it and what can you learn from it? Yes, it's so true. Prayer and communication with God will definitely for sure give you space and time to figure out how you're going to respond. Yes, they can hear me crystal clear.
They can hear you just fine.
They can hear me crystal clear,
Oh,
she
I can
say.
hear you. I can hear you crystal clear now. If I
Oh,
must,
okay.
I guess I had to log out and log back in order for. That was weird. Anyways, like Big Mama say, that's the Amadella.
Acting up with our live feed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you missed the fact that Christina said that she had to pray and ask God on how to, or Denise says she needs to pray and ask God on uh, how to feel about certain situations, and then she learns from that. So I guess
Mm.
it'll give her time and space to figure out her reaction or her response.
Well, at least you are self-aware to realize that there's questions that you need to ask yourself, or you and God ask God to identify, so that you can make whatever adjustments you need to make.
Yeah.
So that's good. A lot of people don't realize that.
For sure. For sure. Oh,
They just
Lord.
want to blame the other person. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
like
it's so
not
true.
taking any accountability.
But Amy, we never got to talk on, and I'm shifting gears like you, similar to how you shifted the other day. But we never got to talk about healing. We wanted to talk about healing because we scratched the surface on healing, and then Will Smith and that lady Janet had a big healing after 30 some odd years or 27 years of uh, bitterness and turmoil. And I thought it was so nice to see healing on display during the season that we're in right now, during this season of division and during this season of uncertainty, to see two beautiful people put their differences aside and say, you know what, let's choose to be at peace rather than to be at war. And we scratched the surface on that healing. So what were your thoughts when you saw that that
Yeah.
healing take place before our eyes?
Well, you know what? I'm glad that they came to the point where they wanted to put that behind them, because 30 years is a long time to
Yes.
carry that burden. I wouldn't want to carry that burden for 30
Mm-mm.
years, but they carried it for 30 years. That's hurtful.
Hmm.
And they chose to bust open a wound
Yep.
so that it could heal properly.
Hmm.
Because sometimes you got to bust open that wound or recrack that bone so it can heal properly. And
Yes.
I really, really like seeing. Now I could tell when she first met him, when he was sitting. I don't know if it was like a theater. I don't know what they were sitting in, but they were
Uh-huh.
sitting. And she walked in and she gave him a hug. She hugged him, but I could still sense there was some uncomfortableness
Uh-huh.
still. And so then I think she was still tearful, but she held it all in, because keep in mind, these are actors, so she's a great actress. Julia Art actress, so
Yeah,
she
yeah,
held
yeah,
it all together and everything, and she said what she had to say, and she was just like,
yeah, yeah. It was,
why did you do this? My career was destroyed. I lost my home. My family couldn't eat. You don't know what you did to me and my family. Why did you do that?
yeah. Somebody's saying, I want to comment on the current situation of Will Smith. Okay, comment. Go ahead and say what you want to say. That's Aaron.
I don't even he has some current situation going on.
He said he wanted to comment. Go ahead, write what you want to write. We'll read it and we'll see what you're saying.
And I could tell that, Will, he because he said he didn't want to read the post, because she started talking to him bad in the media, and
Uh-huh.
he didn't want to read it, and people was telling him what was going, he didn't want to read it. And so then I'm glad they finally got to the point where they can actually have a conversation about it and put that behind them, because
Yes.
that's serious. I mean, when you have that kind of
Mm-hmm.
trauma in you, and we've talked about this before, I
Mm-hmm.
think that can manifest into other things, like other diseases like high blood pressure, back pain, neck pain, headaches, anxiety, all that kind of stuff comes from unresolved trauma that has happened to you that you haven't acknowledged or you haven't
Mm-hmm.
faced.
Yes. That's why we scratched the surface right before that reunion show hit. And we talked about the stages of healing, remember? And we said that you would have to allow an external force to cut that wound open, so that all that hurt, all that pain, all that hurt,
Infection.
all that infection can bust out and give you a relief, some relief from your worries. So the mere fact that he reached out and she responded, that was the gateway to peace. That was the gateway to healing. That was the first step. Okay, he reached out. That's why the Bible says, blessed is the peacemaker. We all want to be at peace, but the person who goes out, I'm getting ready to preach now, and seeks to be the peacemaker. That's the one that's uh fed up with the current situation. You say, I above all, I want peace. I'm sorry for whatever I did. Even if you didn't even feel like you did anything, you just want peace and you want a peace of mind. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
it is so that was so wonderful for me to witness and to see, especially with this current state of our union, Amy. I was so happy. I mean, my heart was so full of joy. Was yours?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was happy to see that they put that behind them, and that's vulnerable. You have to expose yourself like that in front of. That's such a personal situation that you allowed other people to take a peek at.
Yeah.
And we saw that healing take place and that forgiveness take place right before our eyes. And you open yourself up to people talking about
Yes.
you open yourself up to a whole lot of stuff when you expose yourself at that level.
I mean, that was some serious surgery that we were seeing taking place, Amy. We saw some literal surgery. We were in the operating room, Amy. We all had our masks on and we were geared up. I mean, we were in the operating room witnessing an open heart transplant.
Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna have to write that down. I'm gonna have to write that down.
Because she decided to take out this stony heart, this heart that was stubborn, this heart that was bitter, this heart that was just as hard as, I don't know, hardness of a heart. And she decided, let me take this heart out, let me exchange it for a heart of flesh. And whew, now she can exhale, now she can breathe, now she can move forward in her career, now she can do other things. She don't have to keep dwelling on that past hurt. See, that's the wonderful thing about having peace and having healing and being whole, is you can put that thing in the rearview mirror and then you can move on. And that gave you a release. Now you can take the shackles off and now you can fly and be all that you can be. You're no longer bound, Amy. You're no longer bound and shackled by the past and the hurt of the past. Because that thing had her bound for 27 years. She said she didn't do nothing.
Well, it wasn't just her; it was him too. He felt that he felt some kind of way too, and it's not that you forget. I mean, it's not even realistic to say that you're gonna forget all what took place. It's
Mm-hmm.
just you're able to handle it and cope with it better. You've been released where it's not affecting you, affecting your body in a certain way anymore. But you do remember. I mean, you do, and there's a
Yeah.
part of you, and there's a part of you. Let the truth be told, that still has a guard up. Even though, yes, I know that we good, we can talk. If you call me, I'm gonna talk to you, whatever. But there's still, it never quite goes back to the way it originally was. Like it's different from that point on. As soon as something happened, it's different.
See, Amy, that's why went through the stages of healing last time, because I still have the scar, and the scar reminds me that I was hurt. I had an injury there, but all the pain that was associated with that scar is no more. Do you see?
Yes. Oh,
All
yes.
the pain is gone. I look at it and I know I was cut because I have evidence. I have evidence that you cut me. I have the scar that speaks to the fact that I was cut. But guess what? I'm not thinking about that scar anymore because the pain is gone. Mm. Hey, hey, the pain that I had is gone. No, gone, gone.
You know what? That leads me to another topic. And
Okay,
as you guys
is
know,
the pain gone, y'all?
as you know, this our conversations can go any direction. It can go anywhere. So,
I need a witness out there. You may know the pain is gone.
yeah, Lord. So,
Hey, all right, let's move on.
speaking of hurt, church hurt.
Okay.
You know, I heard somebody say that they heard their pastor say that church hurt is not real.
Oh, yep.
And I don't know what that pastor was thinking about when he made that comment, or maybe his definition of it is different, or he interprets it differently.
Uh
But
huh.
there is such thing as church hurt. It just simply means that the hurt happened at the church.
Uh huh.
That's it.
Right.
So you can be hurt at church.
Yeah, you can.
And I think a lot of people have, we'll get on expectations here in a little bit. Do you think
Hmm.
church hurt is real?
Church hurt is definitely real because people, all they're saying is, I was hurt at the church. And so now, because I was hurt at the church, all the churches are, oh, they got a warped perception of what church is, and they don't want to have nothing to do. They wash their hands with church because of a church hurt. So I was hurt at the church. So now I associate my hurt with the church, and I don't have nothing to do with it. So is it real? I believe that it is real because so many people have witnesses and testified that they have been hurt at the church and they have refused to return to anybody's church. So it does exist and it is real.
And I heard someone say, well, it's interesting that you say you got hurt at the church. You get hurt on your job every day, but you still go to your job every day to get that paycheck. So why is it that you will continue to take abuse from an employer, but you decide you don't want to go back to a church anymore? Is it because one is I'm volunteering to go to the church, and one is getting paid? Do you think that's the difference? Because people they'll run from a church as quick as I don't even know what, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I ain't coming back there no more. But they could be in an abusive relationship. They could be at a job where they don't even like their employer, or they're being harassed, or whatever the case may be, and they deal with it.
Yeah. They deal with it because their livelihood is tied into this job. They're expecting their paycheck to pay their bills, and they know that they have to pay those bills or they're going to be out in the street. So they'll suck up or they'll swallow a lot of hurt at work. But at church, our reward is not the paycheck. Our reward is an eternal kind of reward. And so um because it's not tangible, Amy, it's something you can't feel, touch. You can easily just say, I'm done with that and move on, and it didn't affect you. It didn't affect you financially. But see, the effects are more of a spiritual effect. Do you see? So that's how you get church hoppers. That's what you call them, church hoppers. You hurt here, you go here, and you get hurt over here, and you go here, and you just move around because of church hurt. But I think it is real for sure. And um we just have to learn how to deal with hurt, whether it's on the church, on the job, in wherever the hurt occurs. You just have to learn how to deal with it, recover, and move forward. That's how I feel about it. Wherever you were hurt, no matter the situation, circumstance, get
And
to the place of
sometimes
healing.
and sometimes I think that it's subject to interpretation,
Hmm.
because what someone might be saying is hurt, in when I hear the story, in my mind, I may not think that it's hurt. It's just someone being sensitive because they felt like they were entitled to.
Hmm.
They were entitled to sit in the front row. I'm just giving you an example. They feel entitled that I pay my tithes and you need to help me because my electric is about to get cut off. Oh, you said no? I paid my tithes. Oh, y'all playing games over there. I paid my tithes. So if I need my bill paid, I need y'all to pay my bill. This ain't how it works.
Amy,
See?
look what Chris put on there, Amy. He said, it is truly real. My father confessed to me that he was hurt by the church, and it took him years to return.
Ah,
Oh, it's real.
wow.
It take a lot to recover from a church hurt, Amy.
Well, good thing he was able to get past that. Just like we said, just what
Uh-huh.
you said, in his own way, he was able to forgive and move past it, and then continue to go to church later on.
Uh-huh.
He was able to do that. So that's good.
Yeah, Amy, I only diverted to Chris because I had to digest what you had just said.
Okay.
I had to divert to that comment.
Okay. Go ahead and digest what I said. Say it again.
Oh, so people have an expectation that if you pay your tithes to a particular church, that anytime you have a need, then you expect the church to meet that need. And I think that's an unrealistic expectation, because the church, I don't look at the church as a savings account. You can't look at the church as I'm depositing something into this particular church with an expectation that I'm going to withdraw when I need something. No, you don't expect that when you go and buy your house. If you don't pay the mortgage, guess what? You're going to lose that house. So some of our expectations as it relates to church, I think, are skewed and need to be reevaluated. Because if, of course, if you come upon a hardship, if you are definitely in a hardship, Amy, like the vast majority of Americans and all over the world during the coronavirus, okay, people are going through hard times. Those are the times when the church rises up to the occasion, Amy, and then they meet the needs of the people. Not every month or every 3 months when my I know my car note is due and I don't have the money for it. Now I need to go. I pay my tithe. Give me some money back. No, 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 no. It don't work that way. During hardship, of course, if you need something during a hardship, the church is standing sure. The I have been in church forever and a day, and I know that the church stands sure if you are in dire restraints. Okay, they can lift an offering, do something to help you out. During this COVID time, one thing I like about our church is they sent to all the members. They sent us rice, oil, salt, everything you need to prepare something with. A big old 5 pound bag of rice, Amy. Whether we needed it or whether we didn't need it, it was an outreach. It was an in-reach to the members of the church to say we can't pay all the bills, but look, we'll make sure you got some rice that's gonna last you for a while. Do you see what I'm saying? So the church uh, is standing sure, but we cannot look at the bank as a withdrawal savings and savings account, because it's not. Once you give that, once you give that offering, once you give give, you give it away. You should not have an expectation that I'm going to in turn go back and ask for whatever I need when I need something. I think that's unrealistic.
I wonder where that mindset even comes from, because I've never looked at the church like that. Never. I
I have
never
never in my
looked.
life.
I never looked at it as I'm putting this in the plate, so if something happens, I should be able to come to you and ask for it back.
Exactly.
I've
Somebody.
never even looked at that like that. It's like I'm giving, and then if I am in a situation, I'm gonna be asking probably my mom. I'll be asking maybe y'all, or maybe I'll work another job, whatever the case may be, to get what I need. But I never thought.
Just get real. You don't ever want to ask nobody for nothing, not a dime, not a cent, not a quarter.
I've gotten better with that. What you talking about? I've gotten better with asking for help, and I know that's something that I still need to work on. Yes, you
I
are
think
absolutely right.
because
You
I'm your
absolutely
sister,
right.
I didn't know you my whole life, so I know. But
What does Zanetta say?
and let me say this thought real quick, Amy.
Okay, all right.
I think because we were raised the way we were raised, not to ask anybody for anything, it never came to mind to ask the church for a dime.
Now, I don't know. I'm trying to remember if we were raised to not ask anyone for anything. I don't
Amy,
remember that.
she probably didn't. Mom probably didn't say it out of her mouth, but her action said, "Don't ask nobody for nothing."
Okay, so if you want to go that route, then I would agree, because mom always worked 2 and 3 jobs as a
Hmm.
nurse. So she worked at the hospital as a RN, and then
Hmm.
she worked at the nursing home if she needed some extra money or whatever. And she was gone all the time. But you're right. So it's like, do whatever it is you need to do. We saw that by example. Do
Yeah.
whatever it is you need to do legally
Hmm. Yeah.
to make sure that your household is taken care of.
Amy, no matter if mom needed X, Y, and Z, she was gonna make sure it got done. She didn't have to say, "I don't want y'all asking nobody for anything. Don't y'all ask nobody." No, her action said, "Don't ask nobody for nothing." Because even if she needed a ride, she'd rather walk.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that ride, and Zanetta made her post. So that reminded me. Thank you to the Graves family, who was the second family for us that would pick us up when
Oh
we
yes.
didn't have any car, so that we wouldn't walk. We
Uh huh.
call Aunt Portia, and Portia would come pick us up.
Hmm.
Brother Graves was always there to give us some money. We didn't even ask for no money. He'd be like, "Here, young lady." We're like, "Huh? What? What? Is this for me? What?
Ah,
Let me put it in here. I mean, so he's always been like that throughout
mm-hmm.
all these years. So, hi Zanetta, tell
Is it?
Brother Graves that we love him. Telling Portia that we love
Mm-hmm.
him, and we here. We still here.
Read her comment, Amy. Amy, these comments are going bananas.
So it says. So Zanetta says,
Mm-hmm.
we have to stop attacking each other to in.
Attach.
Oh, okay. Let me go back. We have to stop attaching ourselves to inanimate objects in life for real healing, whatever pronoun it is, person, place, or things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you want real healing, go to the healer.
And see, we established ourselves as the church, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, there's still a disconnect, or some kind of way, there's still a disconnect because people are thinking the church is the church building and not that we are the church.
We are the church. We are the church. So I think what she's saying is we need to quit attaching ourselves to things. Uh, she said things in life.
Oh
Things.
no, yeah, I understand what she's saying, but I'm talking about people who's talking about church hurt. So they're tying it to the building when they say that versus, okay, is it? That's a question. Are
Mhm.
they tying it to the people in the church, or are they tying it to the building as a whole? And when people think of the church, they think of the church building and
Yeah.
everything that comes with it.
9 times out of 10, people are thinking that when you say church, they thinking about the church building. 9 times out of 10. That's how I think about it. It's not till you go a little deeper and you say we are the church, because you say everybody say let's go to church. So it's like a place to go to. You know what I'm saying? It's a place where we meet. It's the temple. And when you transition your thinking to realize that we as the people are the temple, then you house the presence of the Lord. You yourself, you see, it's a transition between I'm going to church versus I am the church. Now, Amy, there's so many comments. Mercedes is on here talking about say that. Uh Crystal said, and I'm trying to, you guys, I'm trying to.
Crystal who?
Crystal Ward
Oh,
Carter.
Crystal. Yes, yes,
She
yes.
said, and I'm trying to,
I thought that was Crystal Smith, but you talking about Crystal Ward Carter. Okay.
yeah. It said, she said, and the Bible says the poor will always be among us, and it's up to us to take care of them. Crystal said, it's trauma, Robinette Reed, for Black women to not ask for help because for a long time help was not handed out. True. She says, I think the church was a role and a place to give, has a role and a place to give, but it was not required. True, true, true. The church definitely has a role to play, but it's definitely not required. I know a lot of churches, Amy, that will check the tithing record first if you ask for something to decide if they're going to give you something. I know that for a couple of churches.
That right there is touchy.
I know. Tying it to the building and the people in that church because I can go to another one that feeds me.
Mm.
So I guess she can go to another place. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, everybody does have a choice. You do have a choice to go wherever that's not feeding you.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're referring to being hurt at the church, so I think people probably need to be more specific and say that they were hurt by the people in the church,
Or they could
no
just
no no
say
no hurt by the people.
at,
Yeah,
but
at
Amy,
the church. Now I'm just trying to figure it out, and I'm like trying to form it in a sentence. Like, does that make sense?
but Amy, truth be told, it wasn't even more than one person that hurt you. So you should say, Amy hurt me. Why does it have to be the church? Why you have to say
Oh yeah.
at the church? Or somebody, Crystal, you hurt me. It's the person.
You just brought up a good point. If someone hurts you, why not go to the person that hurts you and have a conversation with them and say, you know what? I don't like what you said. I don't like what you did. I was hurt by that. Why are we not having these conversations? Is it fear? Fear of the response?
Amy, you know people don't like confrontation. A lot of people don't like confrontation, Amy. They don't. They rather tuck that thing up under that rug and just move on and act like nothing ever happened, but still hold a grudge. But if we can get to the place where we can confront and resolve the issue, then and we wouldn't even be talking about church hurt if people could actually go to that person and say, "You hurt me.
But
I didn't like how you did this X, Y, and Z. I don't like how you did that, and I'm offended by what you said in this matter." So then that person can reply, and then you guys can come to some kind of resolve. But people don't like to confront.
well, and it
A
rolls
lot of people.
over. It rolls over into your personal life and in your working relationships and in all of your relationships because you don't know how to communicate. You
Hmm.
don't know how to say this is wrong. This is it. And then when you do say it, it come out all kind of crazy because
Yeah,
you haven't understood yourself. You got to do some serious work. That you can't have a conversation with no one and be able to communicate in a complete thought to say this is what's going on. We should be able
yeah.
to have those conversations. And yeah, they may be uncomfortable, but we should be able to have those conversations. Zanetta said, right. If people would really embrace the church side. No, wait,
Inside.
wait. Right. Hold on, y'all. I'm working on my reading.
Those
Right.
phonics work for me.
If people would really embrace the church inside themselves, they could detach themselves from the physical. That's deep, Zanetta. You trying to get deep. You trying to get deep, I see.
Inside. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. Um, Amy, mom said most people do not like confrontation. Yes, universal. Christina says it may have a lot of personal issues in your life and what
Robin,
you've experienced. Some people
hold
don't.
on.
Hmm.
Let's go back to before you jump on that other question. Let's go back to mom's. What did mom say?
She said most people do not like confrontation. Yes, universal.
Now, when it comes to confrontation, it's all in your approach. You should be able to have a conversation with someone. And if you know that person or you understand that person, if you don't know that person, then you may need to observe them for a little while before you come with your approach. But it's
Hmm.
all in your approach and how your message is going to be received. If you
Hmm.
come to them, you did this and you know what I mean. You come
Yeah.
in that kind of tone, then everything is shut down. That person is shut down. They don't hear nothing that you're saying because they feel like they're being attacked. If
Hmm.
anybody feel like they're being attacked, you're not going to get nowhere in the conversation.
Right.
But if you come to them in love and you don't come with no dagger and you come in there soft
Hmm. Yeah.
to say whatever it is you need to say, they should be open to receive what you're saying.
They should be.
It's all in your approach.
Hmm. They should be. They should be.
Zanetta's
Some
getting into emotional intelligence and EQ and all kinds of stuff. Read what she
that,
said.
that social emotional communication. We rather function around dysfunction. We don't teach conflict resolution in the church.
Well, we have to teach conflict resolutions in our. It starts at home too, because
Hmm.
your kids and stuff they grow up to be productive citizens out there, in church, in the workforce, in it. But we got to work on ourselves first,
Hmm.
and we need to learn to communicate. And I do agree that conflict resolution may be so. If y'all pastors are listening, churches listening,
Hmm.
y'all can create a course. This is free game, free content. Y'all charge me later. I'll bill you. I'll send you an invoice. Have a course on conflict resolution in the
Hmm.
church. In the
Hmm.
church. I think that's a good idea, Zanetta, to create something
Yeah.
like that where you learn to communicate and it starts, start where you at. So yes, that should be a course right along with new members class.
What's the name? Stevie brought out, or Denise brought out Matthew 18:15. You are to go to your brother if you have an issue with your brother or sister. She said that's pretty much that's the scripture that opens the door to conflict resolution. But yeah, Amy, you are so right in the approach that we take when we call ourselves confronting people. And I know some people just nasty as they want to be. Just, and you don't even want to confront those kind of people, Amy, because you're like, I don't want to deal. Even though you want to resolve the conflict, but because you know that person is so nasty and cantankerous,
Oh Lordy, cantankerous.
that you don't even want to deal with them. So you're like, oh no, I don't even want to deal with it. I don't even want to be around that energy. I'm just gonna move on and just forget about that, and then leave that little tick in your back pocket because it's like, ugh, do I want to even tackle this Goliath?
Sometimes I think it's just best. Sometimes you can't tackle it. You just gotta like step away. Sometimes, depending on the situation, you just have to step away, regroup.
Yeah, it's like, do I want to deal with this individual? Do I want them to pull my spirit down?
Now, that's a lot of power to allow somebody to pull your spirit down.
You're
You
so
should
right.
be able
So
to
right. But
stay poised.
should you should, but now it always don't work. It don't work out right all the time.
I know it don't. So that's just something that, you realize, okay, I need to work on that because I shouldn't allow someone to have that much power over me to where
Mhm.
my whole mood changes just because they stepped in the room, or just because I have been in places where you walk in the room, you like, was y'all arguing up in here?
But Amy,
Was somebody some going on up in here?
But the approach is so crucial. And I like that you said that. So I want to dig in on it. The approach is so crucial because I remember one time my husband had made me mad, Amy, and he knew he made me mad. And so then when he got home, I had already had planned on what I was going to say. I'm going to say, I already had my arguments all intact on what I was going to say. Guess what he did? He came up, he came in smiling, and I was like, and I just started
Oh, so he know what to do. He know what to do.
Amy, he came in smiling ear to ear. And I was like, oh, Lord, I
He
forgot
know what to
all my
do.
arguments, all my points. And I still said my points and my arguments, but
But it
the whole
wasn't the same. It wasn't
thing,
the same. It wasn't the same. So he knew what he needed to do to get what he needed to get
the
out of
approach,
that.
but the approach is what I'm trying to pull
I,
out.
I understand. I hear you. I hear everything that you're saying.
But it makes a big difference
It
in
makes a
the
big difference.
resolve.
Because if he would have came in there with an attitude still,
hmm
and you were still flaming because you had an attitude, that conversation would have went a whole nother direction.
Right, right. You got it.
Yeah.
Um, Someone says just got to let it go at times. That's Marilyn. Marilyn says you just got to let it go at times. Denise said, "Do it in love." Denise says you just have to pray for them and ask God for the right time, and He will give you the right time, and He will give it. True, true.
And that is true. But sometimes we are so quick to react, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't think about that till after we've already reacted.
Uh huh.
And it's already out there. You already said whatever it is that you needed to say. So it's like you can't take it back. So it's just taking a pause and doing that self-awareness check before you react.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
she's right. Because all you got to do, what did she say again? What did
Uh,
Denise say?
Pray for them and ask God for the right time, and He'll give it to you.
Yes. So yes, if you take a step back, do that, and you'll be shown the right time. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Take a pause for the cause.
Sometimes it's hard to, sometimes you just want to react. Your heart is all beating all fast and everything. You ready
Girl,
to you ready to give a piece of your mind. You ready.
girl, every time your heart start beating, you know you need to take a pause for the cause.
Yeah, your heart beating all fast.
That's
You
a
like,
signal that you get amped up. That adrenaline is running. Take a pause for the cause.
Yes, exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
Lord, Amy, do you know what time it is?
Oh, we didn't win over.
4:18.
Do we still have some more questions down there or comments?
Christina says sometimes you don't have time to pause. Situations do happen in the moment. Yep, that's what she was alluding to.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you still need to pause, even if you don't feel like you have time.
Yeah, that's discipline. That's self-discipline. So you have to hold
Mm-hmm.
it in. You have to figure out a way to control yourself. Take
Mm-hmm.
deep cleansing breaths, whatever it is you need to take
And then
to
then respond, because your response will be different. Even those 1 to 2 seconds where you
hmm
took the time to pause and realize what you wanted to say.
look at it this way. Act like you at work.
Mm-hmm.
Act like you at work and somebody made you mad and you got to hold your tongue because you don't want to get fired. Because
Mm-hmm.
you know if you say what you want to say, they're going to call the police to escort you out of that workplace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
act like you at work when you having some conflict. Act like you at work. Keep your mouth quiet. Don't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then address it at the right moment, at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's 1 or 2 minutes later, it don't have to be a day.
Yeah, it can be a couple minutes later. It don't have to be a whole time. But sometimes, depending on how big the situation is, you
Mm-hmm.
may need a few days to sit on it for a little
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. It's so true. All right, Amy, what do you want to do? You want to keep on going? They still talking.
Well, let's
It's
see what else they talking
yes,
about.
amen. Ask yourself, is it going to help or hurt? Christina says, shut the office door. Yeah, those are all good interventions. Anything to give yourself time and space. Um, Let me see what's over here. Um, she said Gaia took the wind out that sail. You sure did. Praising is a choice, self-regulation. Pausing is a choice, and self-regulation. Yes. She said, exactly. That's what I'm doing in the trenches with these keys. Bill me. I said it first. She said, Bill her, Amy. Marilyn said, will it be worth it to wait? Oh, yes, it will. It'll be worth it because you gathered yourself and you gathered your thoughts before you didn't react, you responded.
I do want to
There's
make
a
a
difference between reacting and responding.
That is correct. I do want to make a comment before it slips because sometimes these thoughts be running away from me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You had made a comment. What was it about? Oh, being at the church and people's livelihoods relying on their job versus a church. You're volunteering. You're not getting paid. Some people are getting paid, but some people aren't getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
But they even have a choice in that matter, though, too, because you can decide to go start your own business or whatever. You don't have to if I'm talking about the people who continue to work at places
Mm-hmm.
and they're being harassed or whatever the case may be. You do
Uh-huh.
have the option to start your own business.
Yeah.
You do have the option to say, I'm going to build something and create something, and this is the way I wanted to create it based on a problem that you're solving.
Mm-hmm.
You're leaving because there's a problem. You're going to be doing whatever it is better. So anyways, I don't want to get on a tangent about that.
Yeah, you always have an option. That's for sure. You can work for somebody else. You can start your own thing. For sure, you definitely have several options. Some of them aren't realistic, though.
Yeah, some of them are not. Yeah, you got to be realistic. You got to be
Mm-hmm.
realistic and set smart goals. I think that's what they
Mm-hmm.
call it, Robin, don't they? Smart
Yeah, they
goals.
do.
Smart. Well, what is it?
Things that you can
Specific,
measure, measurable, attainable. I think.
Timely,
realistic and timely.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Those are smart goals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as long as it's that and it meet that criteria, you be good.
That's so true. Amy, I think we've come to the end of the road.
Okay.
Although we've come to the end of the road.
To the end of the road. No,
And
no, 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 no.
it's unnatural.
Ooh.
Oh, thank you guys so
Don't
much. Ooh,
Anyway.
yeah. Ooh, yeah. Thanks so much for joining in with us. All of your comments, all of your questions, all of your enlightening, Zanetta, all intellectual,
thought provoking.
provoking comments. We are so happy you joined us today. Come on, come on, come on. Clap your hands. Amy, where can they find you?
Oh, it was on the screen, but you got this up here now.
Oh, let's
It
move
was
this
on the
out the way.
screen. You guys can follow me on Instagram at iam.super.natural if you want to connect. Me and Facebook have a love-hate relationship, so I've been off and on. I'm back on because I was forced to be back on, but I'm going to go ahead and stop talking so we can end it because I see Robin is ready to sing her song. Anyways, Instagram.
She always on Instagram. And don't forget, you have a podcast.
Oh, yes, I have a podcast. She said that out loud. If you feel so inclined, go check it out. Listen, you may get some jewels. And no matter of fact, you will get some jewels. It will help you. It will inspire you. Check it out. She said that out loud.
She said that out loud. It's on YouTube, right?
Well, I do have a YouTube, but it's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on Google, it's on all podcast platforms.
Now, if I want to go check out your podcast, where am I gonna go? Where can I get it easy?
You can get it easy at Apple if you have an iPhone.
I don't have an iPhone.
If you have an Android, ooh, Lordy, y'all Android people. If you have an Android, you can go to Google Podcasts.
Google Podcasts.
You can also go to Spotify and you can listen in there.
All right. And my son endorses my sister, his aunt. He said her voice is calming. He loves it. He's only 11 years old.
Oh, thank you, little Gaia.
You can find me at Facebook. I got a beat going. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
www.robinettereed.com. I'm always on Facebook. Check me out. Candid Conversations with me and my sister. Candid Conversations, won't you join in with us? Candid Conversations with me and my sister. Candid Conversations, won't you join with us? All right. Thank you so much, Amy.
Bye. You guys have an excellent week.
Yes. Have a wonderful week. Don't let nobody steal your joy. You hear what I say?
I hear you.
All right. Bye.